Last year, she had a different title, but today she's wearing a different crown. Women, you can do better. Let's clap for Rebecca Miano. Karibu sana. Karibu.
CS with the longest title. East Africa Community, Arid and Semi-Arid Lands, and Regional Development. So, the CEO Nation Media Group, Mr. Stephen Gitagama, NMG staff members, all the phenomenal women in the room, allow me to salute you this evening and wish you a happy International Women's Day. We are here today when our operating environment is quite tough. We are facing the worst drought in 40 years, a recovering economy, the crisis of climate change. But despite all that, we are here to celebrate International Women's Day. And the global theme of the International Women's Day 2023, as I was given by Nation Media Group, is to embrace equality. And I was asked to speak on the opportunities and inequalities that I may have encountered on my journey to my current designation. Further, I have been asked to pontificate with you on how best the public sector can enact more inclusive policies and initiatives that will foster gender equality. What a humongous task I have this evening. But let me tell you, my encounter with inequality in 2015, in my previous role, there was a survey undertaken by McKinsey, an international firm, on organizational health, where I was. And when the results came back, women were less senior, women were less motivated, women were less paid, women were less happy, women were less everything. And that result of the survey really touched me. And I remember I decided to stick my neck out and to raise my hand. But thankfully, the board of the organization decided to come up with a forum to enable women unleash their potential, professionally be more confident, even resolve some of the physical inconveniences, especially that having been a male-dominated workplace. And from the formation of that forum for women, we saw very great strides. We saw more women taking up senior positions, more women getting motivated, applying for jobs, vying for positions in their professional bodies, and I was not left behind. And when a more senior position of CEO was advertised, against a voice inside me that I can't, I shouldn't, and all that, I took a pen and made an application. There were 90 applicants for the CEO job. The rest is history. I served as a CEO for 5 years and moved on. And moved on to a different role. Never mind the inequalities, never mind anything else. And ladies and gentlemen, I have no doubt that every woman has something useful to say about this topic today. Indeed, I am aware that my sojourn through childhood, school, college, and places I have served in previously, this is pretty much the detour many women have taken in their lifetime. My story, therefore, cannot possibly be entirely unique, given that gender jaundice, not the words, gender jaundice women encounter day in, day out in our male-dominated world is part of a script and reality that is as old as mankind itself. To illustrate my point, let us look at hard facts that reveal our gender inequality today. And this is globally. And according to a March 2022 World Bank report, nearly 2.4 billion women globally don't have the same economic rights as men. And of the world's 195 countries, a whopping 178 of them are noted for maintaining legal barriers that prevent full economic participation, according to the World Bank's Women, Business, and the Law 2022 report. From the Holy Scriptures to fables to mythologies, the destiny of a woman has been burdened with a beadwork of diarized failings, foibles, frailties, seemingly crafted to make the girl child perpetually lily-livered. In other words, the doubts our world plants in the minds of girls and women make it difficult for many of us to claim our rightful place and even our dignity. Therefore, fellow women, if you allow me, I will steer clear of the usual lies peddled as true about gender inequality in society, and instead remind us all of this and some of the noteworthy exploits recorded by truly illustrious, though hardly sung, women whom we shall all learn a lesson or two from. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get there, allow me to say that an individual, male or female, is as good as he or she allows himself or herself to feel about oneself. You become what you imagine yourself being only as long as you are bold enough to ignore dissenting voices and opinions from the legion of detractors and grudging admirers out to snuff out your glowing candle. And this is what we face every day. People will distract you, but others will admire you negatively. Oftentimes, as women, we over-magnify our inability to surmount the odds stacked against us in our machismo-driven world. Yet, as many times as we forget that there are tens of women who have achieved the impossible in worse off situations than we have been thrust into by modern times. If that is any consolation at all, let me conduct a quick checkup of how many heroines that history has faithfully recorded, but who nonetheless have escaped our collective notice over time. By a show of hands, let us see whom we recognize among our local icons of yesteryears. And since charity begins at home, we shall sample just very few, 2 or 3 heroines from within our borders. And I dug into history because I really wanted to know how did women long time ago manage this issue of inequality. And I discovered in every corner of our country, we had heroines. From Bere, I discovered a leader who was later ousted by envious men from her leadership position. Her story mirrors that of the legendary Wango Makeri from Muranga. We also had another woman, warrior from Meru. Later on, we can look for the names. We had a prophetess from the Oromo, freedom fighter from Giriama. And I am told the word Syokimau is for a renowned Kamba oracle. And the reason I'm giving this is because I believe there are many accounts of similar heroines in every community whose DNA resides in us, but whose stories are yet to be told. But dear ladies today, if those women who did not have anything digital, no education, were able to be such heroines, we have no excuse today. Our hands, our legs are not tied by anything. We can only do better. And in that regard, inequality will not matter. We shall soldier on. Remember, we are talking about embracing equality. And so all I am saying here and now is that we need not seek inspiration from remote quarters or from the moon, because we have plenty examples that underscore our sense of excellence, brewed and perfected in our local sensibilities from our own ancestors. But going just south in South Africa, after they emerged from colonial rule, we all know that Nelson Mandela took to the helm as president, and a wave of consciousness came in, keen to recognize the age-old role of women, the one they play in shaping the destiny of society, and this was kicked afresh. And a decision to honor women was made and mainstreamed in government. And they came up with the words, the woman of substance. And in South Africa, I read they were calling them Mosadi Wakonokono. So this evening in Kenya, we need our own phrase. We need to describe ourselves because we are women of substance. And this was an initiative by government because we need women to participate in the socio-economic development of our communities through such recognitions. And maybe before we leave here, we shall have our own Mosadi Wakonokono. I refer to this particular excellence award because it confirms that there is a sense of an indisputable excellence, though oftentimes cryptically embedded, in women that ought to be recognized and celebrated. And we must be deliberate about it if we are to lift our girls and our women from the unfair and totally undeserved censure we find ourselves in from time to time. And so, fellow women, We do not have to aspire to be like men in our pursuit for excellence. We are wonderful human beings as we are. And men know that too. So we should not waste time trying to be what we are not. I often encourage women to seek knowledge in order to claim their place in the universe, as opposed to seeking approval of the opposite gender. When a woman is deemed to be competent and able, everyone pays attention to her. Her worth shifts from being just a woman to being a person of substance. And that is precisely what we must encourage our girls to know and believe. And that then becomes life's golden ticket against inequality. It is that simple. Gender constructs that diminish the worth of women are retrogressive and outdated in our times. No one in the 21st century should suffer ridicule for being a woman, whether online or offline. In any case, the population of the world is such that men and boys and women and girls are nearly equally distributed in numbers. That alone is a divine signal that no gender is more equal than the other. So we are not worried. Very much like the Mosadi Wakonokono case and what we are becoming this evening, even our own traditions, we had women who were well known of high standards for their peers and proteges, and we need to keep walking and talking tall. Of course, the same sensibility has made it possible for women of substance to emerge within our shows in our recent past. I will not repeat their names. The CEO actually went through the list that I had. So friends, do we really have any excuse as women of Kenya of administration proving the wealth for the women of Kenya that we are here and we, ladies and gentlemen, according to a 2022 and drafted as part of each